Well, Sean, we've had the odd debate about North Sea oil, haven't we, in the last month or two?
We have.
And it has featured in one or two exchanges at PMQs between Badenoch and Starmer. And various orators can argue it either way, to be honest, and you're left with your head spinning as to what's the right answer. But on a micro level, there's a guy called Neil McCulloch, who's the chief executive at Adura, who are in a joint venture with the oil giants Shell and Equinor. And he believes there's a chance to unlock the resources of two oil fields. You may have heard of them because they've been mentioned quite a lot. One is called Jackdaw and one is called Rosebank. And they're off the coast of Scotland, of course, because that's where they are. And he reckons that they could be ready to produce it by October. And produce what, you might ask? Well,
what?
Sorry?
What?
Oh, what?
You
Thank you. Yeah,
just,
good.
yeah.
It could produce 6.5% of Britain's gas requirements, so not a small amount, and 300 million, I think it was, barrels of oil, which is a fair amount. But at the moment, I think Miliband's policies prevent them from cracking on. And whether this is the scale that Badenoch's been talking about, probably isn't. But I sit there and I think, given what's going on, what may have been a good policy 3 months ago doesn't feel like one now. And it seems to me irresistible to let these guys crack on, and particularly as they can make use of the resources so quickly. And my last point before we discuss this, those 2 points. One is that I saw Mrs. Reeves was quoted as thinking this was a good idea this morning. So right up at odds with Mr. Miliband. And, the other point really is in terms of capability. If this turns out to be a good idea, are there other oil fields that could be given licenses and where reasonable production could ensue? And obviously, if these go ahead, then the tax and the tax surcharge revenues come from these fields, and there will be increased jobs, certainly in Scotland. So I'm struggling to see why this is a bad idea, and why don't we just get on with it?
Well, I mean, I've done a little bit of research into this, and I think from a purely economic point of view, I mean, I'm interested to hear your gentleman that you quoted say that it could produce 6% of Britain's gas.
More
revenues.
or less, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, we're working upon the basis that it will be traded on the international market, so it's not going to be any cheaper than buying it from anywhere else.
It's not. No.
So we're buying at the moment from Norway most of our gas, aren't we? So
correct.
So where are the, other than effectively the advantages of what would be the advantages of tax revenues from that particular field, what other advantages are there? Well, other than using Norwegian gas as opposed to our
I think
stuff that we've developed.
I just listed them. I think there are three. One is that you have a little bit more energy security because, yes, we get Norwegian gas, but I think we discussed in an earlier pod, we also get quite a lot of liquefied natural gas, LNG, which comes out of Kuwait. And at the moment, none of that's traveling. So there is a gap in our gas supply, which obviously is one of the reasons that prices are higher. Well, that supply is causing two things. First of all, you might not have enough. And secondly, prices are higher. So there's that bit. I think
the prices out of the North Sea will be higher as well, won't they?
As
a direct result of. So there's no differential there between what we're getting from Norway and what we're getting.
I think the difference is it gives you a little bit more energy security than you've got at the moment, because let's just say 30% of our gas comes from LNG from Kuwait. That's a big gap if that's struggling to get through, or you have to buy it elsewhere. But at least you've got 6%. So you've got supply a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of supply security. Huge benefit for the exchequer. I don't know the billions figure, but if this company is producing, their profits will be higher. So not only will they pay corporation tax, but they'll then pay that massive levy that's on top. I think that's huge. It's probably why Mrs. Reeves is very positive towards this, I would think. And the third thing, which cannot be underestimated, is the jobs that are required to man these 2 oil fields from the production through to the refinement and distribution. So there's nothing on the downside here that I can see other than this policy position of having to reach net zero by, but we're still using the product anyway. So,
but do you know how? I mean, I've got a figure here as to how much it will cost in government subsidies to extract this from. This is Rosebank we're looking at here. Do you know how much?
Rosebank and Jackdaw. No, I don't know how much that would be. Yeah,
Rosebank would cost the Exchequer 3.75 billion to extract, potentially 91% of development costs. So the oil company is paying 9% of development costs. The public purse is paying for the rest. And we're looking at a return on that, which if oil prices stay the same as they are, then that estimate is quite right. If they don't, if they drop back to where they were before, we're potentially looking at a loss over the life of the field. So it's not as black and white, because obviously it's variable depending on what the oil price is on the open market. So it's fine at the moment that we may make a profit out of it, although nowhere near as large a profit as is being. Your argument about energy security holds if we're prepared to pay the international market rate, which
you have no choice.
No, exactly. No, exactly.
No choice.
No. But anybody else can come along and bid higher and effectively take that away. We don't own these fields. We've not got any rights to any of the produce that comes from them. So France wants to come along and pay an extra few dollars a cubic litre more for them, then they're going to sell them.
I'm sure that if the subsidies are as high as you say they are, they're conditional. They have to be conditional. You wouldn't subsidise an industry and then say, oh, you can sell to whoever you like, because that would be bonkers, wouldn't it?
You're trying to encourage business into this country, aren't you? So they'll sell wherever they want. I don't think that would be conditioned necessarily.
Yeah.
On
okay.
Us.
Well,
so it's not black and white. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I think there's this idea that Kemi Badenoch's latched onto, that it's drill, drill, drill. I mean, this is straight from the Trump playbook, isn't it?
I was less interested in her argument. I was more interested in the actual argument in the round. Are you motivated by the fact that it is, if this gas is literally coming ashore, because we do have that capability and we're not having to have these tankers from all over the world, even if they can't get through. Are you pleased about that from an emissions point of view, or don't you care about that?
From an emissions point of view?
Yeah. Is that good?
Why? Because the tankers are coming from all over the world and
they won't
letting off emissions.
For 6.5% of our production, they wouldn't have to, would they? Because we can pipe it.
No.
No, you don't care? No.
Oh, I don't see why we just don't buy Norwegian like we have been doing. What's the problem? It comes out of the same sea. What's the difference? We're paying the market rate. The only difference is we're not having to shove billions of pounds worth of subsidies to allow an oil company to make profits out of it. Where's the difference?
But if that washes its face, because we don't know where oil prices are going to land, what about jobs? Are you pleased that this could provide more jobs?
I'm not sure it would provide more jobs.
You're not sure? But if it did, would you be pleased about that?
Well, you haven't provided any evidence. How many jobs is it going to provide? A lot. A lot. I just don't see...
2,000 jobs, yeah? 2,000.
2,000 extra jobs?
Yes.
Okay.
Rosebank, that's Rosebank alone.
Yeah, it's small fry, isn't it, really? A couple of thousand extra jobs in the greater scheme of things. 3.75 billion. How many extra jobs would that provide you with over a period of time?
Well, I'll let you work that out. I've given you a stat. You work it out.
I just don't. I mean, we made a commitment, didn't we, to net zero, and we seem to be. There seems to be. It's clear. It's politically astute. I can see from Badenoch's perspective.
I'm taking the politics out of it. I'm just saying, from a common sense point of view, do you support this or not?
Who's the guy who's written this report? This is an oil man, isn't it? That you're quoting from. We've got no vested interest by any chance in that.
I'm sure he's got a big vested interest.
Well, quite. You can look at the lies, damn lies of statistics, as they say, and this guy, what do you expect him to say? Well, it's not a good idea.
Just to tip the balance in favour of this, you'd like to hear from the Dr. Cameron, who's a big wig.
Wasn't he in Dr. Finney's casebook? It's up that way as well as Scotland, yeah.
You've had your say. Be quiet. He's from the Aberdeen and Grampian Chamber of Commerce. You'd like to hear what he said, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well,
He reckons it's going to be a victory for common sense.
Well, of course he does. Aberdeen and what's it, Chamber of Commerce? He hardly like to be.
Yeah.
No, we don't want these extra jobs and this extra money going through Aberdeen. These are all people with vested interests, aren't they? I think it's just. I mean, we shall see. We shall see. But far better we invest that money in renewables, which in time, you've got solar panels. You're a convert to renewables. So
but no one invested in my panels other than me. So,
but wouldn't it be better
don't you worry about that?
Put this 3.75 billion into ensuring that houses.
I don't think it will.
Panels
so anyway, we're almost timed out on this particular article. So yes or no? Do you support Rosebank and Jackdaw being allowed to produce gas and oil? Yes or no?
No.
I do. So we'll come back, and so does Mrs. Reeves. And I never thought Mrs. Reeves and I would be in agreement.
Reeves, but she only wants money, doesn't she, Mrs. Reeves?
Well, that's her job. She's the Chancellor,
Exactly.
You can't live on fresh air.
I haven't know what she said, but we'll no doubt return.
We'll come back to. We'll see who wins the debate in whenever they can make up their minds.